Hi, have you ever felt that you went to a meeting and you had something very important to tell the audience, your fellow people at the meeting, but you didn't get through, they didn't get the message, and because they didn't get the message, you didn't get an important decision made, or that you tried to communicate with your partner and your partner didn't understand what you said? Well, welcome to this hangout about storytelling. I am June, and I want to share the importance of being able to tell a story. The ancient Greeks, they were known for their skills in storytelling because our mind is conditioned to remember stories. That is the way we are made from the nature. That is why when you have the fables of Aesop, like that, instead of saying to the ancient Greek that if you kept doing hard work and kept it doing on a persistent level, you would reach more results than if you did a hard work rarely and then you relaxed and then you did some more hard work. So what Aesop did was that he created the fable about the turtle and the hare, and that they were going on a race. And of course, everybody knew that the hare is much faster than the turtle. So it was obvious that the hare would win. But the thing is, it was quite a distance. This was not a short distance. So the hare thought, okay, I have such a huge advance, so I'll relax and take a nap. But the turtle kept on going and going and going. And after a while, the hare woke up and he said, oh my God, the hare has almost reached the finish line. So he started running. The thing is, he had too long distance to go, so by the time he reached the finish line, the turtle had already crossed it. And we still remember that story. We still take the point, even though it wasn't said explicitly. And this is the way our mind is conditioned, because we remember stories, we remember images. It's like when you see an image, you can't unsee it, but you can forget the words people said to you. You can forget the numbers, or you can forget, yeah. And this is the same with stories. And it's a famous example of this is the former president Ronald Reagan. He was trying to communicate how heavily in debt the American nation was, United States of America. But even though when he said the numbers, people couldn't comprehend the number because it was such a huge number. And so he had a difficulty getting through to his audience. And then he thought of something, because he was a good storyteller. So he said, if you had a stack of $1,000 bills in the palm of your hand, and it was 4 inches tall, you'd be a millionaire. And people could relate to that. People could relate to being a millionaire, and they could also relate to a stock of $1,000 bills. And then he said, but the debt of America is going, if you take those $1,000 bills and stack them, they are reaching to the moon and back to the earth and back to the moon again. And that is a lot of money. That is many millionaires on top of each other. And that is an enormous amount of money. So he could write the numbers up and people wouldn't relate to them, but they could relate to the image of going to the moon and back again. So if you want to present something, if you want to reach through to your audience, you need to make images, you need to make stories. There is another famous story about the woman leader of Facebook. She was trying to emphasize how difficult it is for women to reach leadership positions. And she had numbers that showed that there were much more men than women in leadership positions. And she was prepared to give a TED talk for this. And she had all the numbers set up, and it was a really well-prepared presentation. And then she got some coaching up front for the talk. And the coach said, I don't think people get it when you talk about the money and when you talk about the numbers. And she said, yeah, but it's so important because she had to leave her child behind, and the child didn't want her to leave, and she felt so guilty for leaving her child. And so people said to her, why don't you say, and the coach, said to her, why don't you tell that story? Because that is something that working women can relate to. That is something everybody can relate to. Leaving your child behind to go to work. And she said, no, it's personal. I don't want to share my personal life. But she did. She told that story. And the video, the TED Talk, you can see it on YouTube, went viral. Because she was personal, she told a story that has had a much larger impact than the numbers. And that is the same when you see the story of a person that personifies the larger image. So if you want to reach through, try to think of a way to present your message with a story. Try to wrap a story around your message, and then people will listen to you, and you will have a much larger impact. So thank you for listening. Thank you for taking the time, and I wish you best of luck with your stories. And if you want to share something in our community and join our community, that would be very nice. Much welcome. Thank you.